Good evening and welcome to your 2058 Perfect League World Series coverage. I'm your host, DRC, and tonight we have the distinct honor and privilege of crowning a new title and a new champion here in Perfect League. So we'll be bringing you the play-by-play, we'll be bringing you the analysis, we'll be talking about the matchups that we have in front of us here, both from a team perspective as well as a more micro analysis on a player-by-player basis. And we're going to bring it all to you here on the Out of the Park Twitch channel. The theme of the evening is that of celebration. This is the culmination of another great week in the Perfect Team universe. And tonight, someone is going to be winning their first title. We don't have any potential repeat champs tonight. Hammerheads and Expansions both vying for their first Perfect League title, and it's always more special when you're going to be crowning a brand new champion. Along the theme that we have for celebration, you know, if you've won your Diamond League, if you've won your Gold League, or whichever league you're in right now, let's hear it. Let's talk about it in the chat. Let's know how you did it. At the bottom of our screen here, we have our ticker of our wonderful Perfect League teams that just didn't have enough this week to avoid the relegation Puma. So all of these wonderful teams at the bottom of your screen, they will be heading back down to Diamond to terrorize Diamond Leagues next week. But we've got a good one for you tonight. Let's break down the teams real quick here. Our first sim, I believe, will be at in 20 minutes. It could be in 3. I'll have to double check on that. But we'll quickly look at the teams here. So we'll start off with the Ottawa Hammerheads. So the way that we like to do this is first look at team stats. So as we look at the team stats for the Ottawa Hammerheads here, we see 6th in runs scored, and that's 6th out of 20 because we're looking at every team within the AC. And then from a runs allowed perspective, 7th. So pretty balanced team, balanced on the upper end. In terms of being one of the better teams in runs scored and one of the better teams in runs allowed. And let's see how they're doing it. So from a defensive perspective, actually slightly below middle of the road in defensive efficiency, negative zone rating. So I expect that we'll see some hitters and a focus on hitters and high stuff pitchers once we get to the pitchers. So we'll check that out in a minute. From a split perspective, we see a 630 win percentage at home with a 506 on the road. Nothing too crazy there. You typically see decent splits there with much higher win percentages at home. And then as we follow the calendar throughout the course of the year, we see some up and down months. A 16-win April, 18-win May, 19-win June. Probably was right around being the number 1 overall seed in the league at that point in time. And then July and September proved to be some hurdles that brought them down a bit. But they've absolutely recaptured that lightning here in the playoffs. They've absolutely recaptured that lightning for sure. So let's see what the ballpark the Hammerheads play in. Completely neutral. No juice here, no cheese, no whatever word you want for it. Just a straight up neutral ballpark. And now let's look at the players. What kind of choices do we have here? So as we look at both lineups at the bottom of your screen here, looks like one of them is blocked by my big dome. So I'll fill you in on what you're missing here. But as we look at this team, we see versus right, we've got Griffey in center over Mays, which is typically something you more often see with a lefty cheese build. We see Jackie playing every day at second. That's not something that's as often done now as it used to be. Hornsby playing every day at third. So not a ton of platoons here. As far as the platoons go, we have Irod and Campanella platooning at catcher, with Irod taking Pudge, taking the versus right, and then Campanella taking versus left. And then in left field, we've got Ricky Henderson coming in the VL lineup. Mays slides over from right to center, VL. And as we go over to the pitching here, and we'll sort by game started here, we see what looks to be a pretty traditional alignment here. 5 starters that were more or less rolled out every 5th day, for long starts. You don't see pseudo, you don't see openers. You just see Pedro, Walter, Spawn, Maddox, and Seaver rolled out there every fifth day. And then when you turn it over to the bullpen, you see a lot of the names you expect to see. You see Carlton, Sale, and Price from the left side, providing arguably the best arms versus the same side hitters. And then from the right side, you've got Feller, Gibson, and then Hoffman, Rivera at the back end. So pretty traditional setup there. Now, in terms of the path, how did Tech 15 get here? We see they swept the Black Sox in round 1. They swept the Deer in round 2. And wouldn't you know it, they swept the Stingers in round 3. This is my first time that I've seen a team get all the way to the World Series without having a loss, without having a blemish on their record. So that is truly notable. If he were to be able to complete the playoff sweep, that would be something I've definitely never seen in the Perfect League. And then from a history perspective, this is Tech's 11th week within the Perfect League. His 7th Perfect League playoff appearance, and still searching for that first title. Let's jump over to the 90s expansions. So first we look at the stats. Runs scored, 7th. Runs allowed, 4th. So more defensive minded in terms of being higher up in the conference from a run prevention perspective, although the raw number of runs allowed is pretty close to what we saw with Ottawa. Defensively, you see a pretty strong defensive efficiency here, albeit the zone rating suffers quite a bit there, down to 16th in the conference. As we look at home road, we see almost an identical split. I think that might be an identical split to what Tech had, with 630 at home, 506 on the road. And we see an outlier performance here versus left-handed starting pitching. So the 90s expansions really killed left-handed starting pitching, going 36 and 14, while only going 500 versus right-hand pitching. And then as we look at the calendar, a very balanced season. April, May, and June, and July even all looked very similar. A couple games over 500. And then a standout August, followed by a limping to the finish line September. So we look at the players. What sorts of things stand out here? Well, we got Pete Rose. This is the first time we've seen Pete Rose in a Perfect League World Series since I've been doing the broadcast. So that's very exciting. We have Joe DiMaggio. Joe DiMaggio versus Wright. We've also got Pudge v. Wright as well. Pop Lloyd in there for the defense, pairing with Ozzie Smith. And then Hornsby and Mays in there as well versus Wright. As far as versus left, we see Soto come in there versus left. That's interesting. It's also Soto's first Perfect League World Series broadcast appearance for me. Port Dog saying Rose was in it last week. I don't remember. Was he playing every game? And let's look at the park. So the 90s expansions play in a lefty cheeser park. Now, it's not fully lefty cheesed, because we see while the average is fully cheesed up here with 1.1 for the lefties and 0.9 for the righties, the home runs is not. So home runs is neutral for lefties and then nerfed for righties. And then as we look at the editorial decision on the extra base hits, RDT is choosing to go maxed out for doubles and then minned out for triples. So RD, I guess, is it RDT or RDLT? It looks like on Twitch it's RDLT. In Out of the Park it's RDT. Either way, he's sharing that lineup is not what we're going to see, because that was set for a different ballpark for the last round. All right, so let's talk about the path. How did the 90s expansions get here? Well, they swept round 1, but then had to find their way in 7 versus the Silvers, but then had an easier time again winning out the championship series in 5 games over the Richmond Rhinos. And so we have here a couple teams that haven't played that many playoff games. we've only got 4 more than the maximum for the expansions and the absolute minimum for the Hammerheads. All right, so let me go ahead and load up. Let me load up our first sim here and see where we're at. But who do you guys think is going to win? Who is going to win, and in how many games are they going to do so? That's the big question. Pick your pony. If this week is anything like last one, it might take us a second to get game 1 up, but then once we have game 1 up, we are cooking with gas. All right, we are loading up as we speak. Looks like still don't have a sim in, so maybe we are looking at that on the very next sim in 9 minutes. Can anyone in the chat confirm or deny that we are waiting on one more sim to have a game in? Joe A says the expansions are winning because the sweeps are too much to keep happening. Says that Tech is due for a cold series here. That remains to be seen. Who else do we got in the chat here? 4-0 says Coach Ruffy, perfect season. The OOTP meme lord says like moles in 4. Not sure which side that's on. Sus Manja's got the 90s expansions in 6. Crazy Katie Cat looks like she might be on her way back up to Perfect League next week, as she is up 3-1 in her Diamond League. Long simming. All right, let's try this again. Loading up the sim. Let's see where we're at. All right, so I believe we're simming in the next 7 minutes here, if I've got my head on straight. So as we look at the projected rotations here, we've got Tech going game 1 and 2 with Pedro Walter, and then the expansions going 1-2 with Noodles Han, the rare SE tournament reward, and Warren Spahn. And we know that the games are going to be played in that 90s expansions park, which is a lefty cheese park. So more often than not, you see lefty cheese owners looking to deploy left-handed pitchers, or looking to at least trigger as often as possible right-handed starting pitching, or right-handed lineups, excuse me. So one of the things that I found interesting is we looked at the expansions here. So 5 years in perfect, And even their year where they got relegated, they weren't under 500. So 5 years in perfect, and every single one of them over 500, at least 4 games. So definitely an impressive resume. And then in that period between when they got relegated, they logged nearly 100 wins every year in Diamond. And then Tex had a lot of stays up in Perfect League. As we look at how those 11 seasons are spread around, we see one dating all the way back 2034 months ago. Solid 82 and 80 there. And then there was a 5-week stretch from 36 to 40. And then one more week down in Diamond. Popped right back up. And then a couple of above 500 seasons there. But 83 and 79 didn't get it done. And so he went back down to Diamond, racked up some wins. And then we see a couple more seasons in perfect, and 51 and 52. I want to say, and maybe Tech, you can correct me in the chat, but I think we bumped into each other in the playoffs in 51. I know we did one of these seasons, and so I think that would have had to have been the season that we did. Yeah, that's right. You had the nuclear Hoffman and the nuclear meltdown kind. Just brutal. Brutal way to go. Late inning losses just make you pull your hair out. As you can see on your screen, I don't have a ton left. But what I do have goes the way of the blown save. So let's get back to our projected starting pitching alignment here. We start with Noodles and Pedro. So Noodles is not someone we get to see a ton just because there aren't a ton of Noodles out there. So let's see what Noodles' stats look like as we look in the bottom right corner of our screen. We've got what we call the matchup analyzer. And what this is doing is this is rendering and showing and displaying to you the observed statistics in perfect for the past 3 seasons. So in the past 3 seasons, Noodles has accrued, and let me whittle this down to VR and VL, has accrued 261 total innings. And then in those 261 total innings, you see that he's accrued a FIP, slightly below league average, whip right around league average. Pretty much all the numbers kind of around league average with the exception of homers per 9, which in this small sample here is well beneath league average. Ken Therion coining a new phrase within the chat here, the promotion monkey. I definitely like that. You know, last stream in between games 2 and 3, when we had the big break there for the travel day, we swapped out the relegated teams and then popped in our Diamond champions that are coming up. Maybe we need an icon for the promotion monkey, the promotion celebration party monkey. Promotion Panther. Oh, Yuka. We're keeping it in the Big Cat family. So the relegation Puma and the promotion Panther. I'll let you guys duke out in the sim which one wins out, but I like them both. Alliteration is tough to argue with. That's for darn sure. And also it would help me. I wouldn't have to swap out my graphic. I could just have it be both the relegation Puma and the promotion Panther. All right, we should be simming here in a minute. Oh, sorry, I didn't even get to what I was looking at here. So Noodles Han. So we see the numbers are pretty strong there. As we go down the splits here, we see that he's significantly better versus left-handed batters, which isn't too dissimilar to other left-handed pitchers in the game. And we see that when we toggle to the versus right-hand pitching or versus right-hand hitting split here, the struggles go up a bit. Now, one thing to caution here is just that this sample size is not big enough to make any sort of decisions on. You really need at least 1,000 innings, and I'd really prefer closer to 3 before we start drawing any major conclusions about what players are or what players aren't. But, when we have a small amount of data like this, we'll show you. For those super rare tournament SEs like Noodles Han or the new Koufax or the Cy Young, we'll probably always be in this space of not having enough data to make broad observed data claims. However, that's where the regression model guys come in. They can come in and say, okay, well, based on their backup card, here's where we'd expect them to land. Yuka calling out the promotion pterodactyl. I'm not sure that that's how alliteration works. You guys are too much. Promotion Panthers when you want to promote. Promotion Panda is when you're sad about promoting. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. I think it is time to load up game 1. I think it's time to get to some play-by-play. I think it's time to bring the hype. I think it's time to see some big wins and some big losses. Let's blind the screen. And while I'm doing that, I'll let you stare at my shiny dome here, so you're not just looking at a be right back screen. Loading up. Let's see if we've got a score. We do. All right, let's pop it up. Pop it up. Loading up the game. And here we are. Game 1, 2058 World Series. The Ottawa Hammerheads versus the 90s expansions. And we're going to get things underway. And we see the first pitch of this game is being thrown by Eric Gagne. Reliever Eric Gagne. Card that was released not too long ago. We also see that we're playing at what appears to be Coors Field. It definitely is Coors Field for lefties, but it appears to be Coors Field for everyone. And so what we're seeing here is likely a use of the opener-follower mechanic, where we'll have Gagne go 6 or so batters and then give way to the 90s expansion's intended starter or intended follower. But let's get started here. Look at that beautiful stadium. Love the scoreboard. First pitch. That's strike 3 called. So Gagne starts off the World Series with a backwards K. And we've got one away here in the first. We now jump to the top of the second, and we see that Eric Gagne has left the game. And coming in his place here is Warren Spahn. And Spawn's got himself into a little bit of trouble here. He's got Mays on second, Cap Anson on first, and nobody away. He's facing Jackie Robinson as well. So here's a good opportunity to get our first real use out of our matchup analyzer. We'll go ahead and toggle to Warren Spahn, face of the franchise, and we'll toggle to his versus right split. And then we'll also get Jackie Robinson and then take a look at his versus left split. But do keep in mind that this park that we're playing in is going to nerf out righties to the full extent. Average down to 0.9, homers down to 0.9. 0-1 count here. First scoring chance of the World Series. Spahn comes set and delivers. That ball's hit into the right center field gap. It's going to split the gap and be trouble for sure. 1 run in. Here comes a second. He's going to hold it third. And that's an RBI double for Jackie Robinson, giving the Hammerheads here a 1-0 lead early in game 1. The Hammerheads walk away with 2 via that rally, and now we go bottom 2 and see that the Hammerheads are pitching Pedro Martinez. And his first batter here in the second is going to be that Juan Soto. 1-2 count on him. The wind and the pitch. That ball hit well. Deep right field. Gone. 366 happy feet for the expansions, and the home team gets on the board. We now jump another time warp here to go bottom 4, and Pete Rose to the dish. Still facing Pedro Martinez. I don't think we've seen Pete Rose before, so let's go ahead and take a look for the first time at some of his data. And we'll get Pedro up here as well. So bottom right of your screen here, we see Pedro Martinez face of the franchise versus left, and Pete Rose versus right. Advantage to the hitter here. Pete Rose is logging 800 OPS in 1,300 perfect league plate appearances versus right-hand pitching, and this park here is only going to help him more. How will he start off this bottom of the 4th? That ball hit well to right. That's got some distance. Gone! And the expansions tie the game on a solo shot from Pete Rose. We still are tied. We now go top 6. And here in the top of the 6th, we've got Spawn versus Aaron. And Hank Aaron, one of the more deadly profiles versus left-hand pitching. We'll take a quick peek at that before we get this ball in play. As you look at his triple slash line of 287, 356, 509. Facing Spawn here to lead off the 6th, the pitch. That ball hit well. Deep left field. Tracking, and runs out of room. Hank Aaron goes yard. Here in the top of the 6th, Hammerheads take back the lead. Crowd silenced here. Bottom 6 now. Expansions trying to answer back. They've already clawed back from 2-0, and now they'll try to do the same down 3-2, and it'll be Tony Gwynn to start off the inning. Tony Gwynn, one of the best hitters in the game. No secret there, but let me show you just how good he is versus right-hand pitching. You see the OBP of very green 369 and a very positive bat value here at 15 plus. 0-1 count. The wind and the pitch. Light ball lined into the corner in right field. Gwynn heading for extra bases on his way to second. Safe. A leadoff double for Gwynn. Next batter up, Ty Cobb. And if you thought Tony Gwynn had a pretty versus right profile, wait till you catch a load of what Ty Cobb looks like. Excel choking on this pivot. Did we finally break the spreadsheet with data? There it is. Rendering in the bottom right of your screen, we've got Ty Cobb's 298, 380, 493 triple slash line. And he's got an opportunity to tie this game or more for the expansions here in the 6th. 0-2 count, the wind and the pitch. That ball lined up the middle and a base hit. Gwynn around third. He's going to try to score. The throw, not in time. Gwynn beats the throw. Ty Cobb ties the game with an RBI single here in the 6th. Still bottom 6. Very next batter, Pete Rose. Down 0-1 in the count. Cobb on first. Pitch out. Cobb's going. Throw down in time. Roy Campanella with a snap throw on the pitch out there. And Cobb slides head first into the tag. 1 away. We now go top 7. And we've got Walter Johnson on for the expansions. One thing that I love to show every week is just how stark the contrast is for Walter Johnson as we toggle from starter to reliever. So look in the bottom right corner of your screen here. This is Johnson, the starter, which is good, solid, right around league average. And doing that with a volume of innings against tough left-handed batters is a very notable achievement. But watch what happens when I toggle over to reliever. Lights up like a Christmas tree there. The FIP goes sub 3. The K per 9 jumps significantly. The whip dropped. The bottom drops right out of the whip. So Walter Johnson, definitely a primo reliever within this game, and he's put in a primo spot here. The expansions are bringing him in to keep this game tied and give them a chance to score in the bottom of the 7th. He'll have to face Roy Campanella here with Gwynn on first. 1-2 count, the pitch. Strike 3 called. Big strikeout for Big Train. Next batter up is Ozzie Smith. Ozzie, not known for his proficiency with the bat, will show you just how bad it is. You see the triple slash line of 235, 293, 312. And he bats here with 1 away and Gwynn on first. First to pickoff throw. 2-2 count now on Ozzie, the pitch. Ozzie, swing and a miss, strike 3. Walter Johnson with 2 consecutive strikeouts now, and he's going to get out of the top of the 7th. Does his job. We go bottom 7, and we see Wade Boggs for the first time this World Series. Wade Boggs, one of the rarer, harder to find cards in the game. You got to complete the Build a Boggs mission or buy one in the auction house. And you see Wade Boggs here, a very good hitter versus right-hand pitching. Off the charts on base percentage at .378. All of his stats should play up to within this ballpark. 3-1 count on him. Pedro winds and delivers. Ball 4. Boggs has worked a leadoff walk here late in game 1. Very next batter is Willie Mays. And he's going to stroll up to the plate with a 2-2 count on him. The pitch. That ball grounded to third. To second, 1 over to first. Double play. The Hammerheads get a clutch double play to get out of a jam in the 7th. We now go top 8. Willie Mays will face a super-powered Walter Johnson here. 1-2 count on him. The wind and the pitch. That ball crushed to right center. Right fielder giving chase. Can't get to it. Mays on his way to second. He'll slide in there with a 2-out double. And the Hammerheads are in business with a runner in scoring position and 2 away. The very next hitter is Cap Anson, and we're also going to see a pitching change. So let's load up Cap Anson versus right, and let's load up some Trevor Hoffman here in what is likely our highest leverage moment of this game. So we look at Trevor Hoffman versus right. We see Cap Anson versus right. One of the better hitters. You see his bat value is just ever so slightly above 0, meaning that Cap Anson is a positive bat versus righty. Really more neutral. But that's definitely rare for right-handed hitters. But advantage goes to the pitcher here, as Hoffman does an excellent job of limiting the damage versus same-side bats. 0-2 count on him. Wind in the pitch. Liner to first. Caught. And the expansion's out of the trouble here in the 8th. Hammerheads leave 1 in scoring position. We go bottom 8 now. It's crunch time. It is absolutely crunch time when you need a hero. Need someone to come up and untie this game and give you a chance to close it down in the top. And we've got Pedro working against Ty Cobb. Splits are all loaded up. What's going to happen here? Gwynn on first, 2 outs. The pitch. That ball crushed into right center field. Off the top of the wall. Gwynn around second, heading to third. Crossing third, he's going to try to score. The throw will go to third base where Cobb slides in with a game-altering 2-out triple here in the bottom of the 8th of game number 1. Giving the expansions the lead. We go top 9 now. Expansions are going to tap on Mariana Rivera to close this one out. And the first person who he's going to face is Jackie Robinson. Another bat not too dissimilar to Cap Anson, where he's a righty that does an okay job against right-hand pitching. Anson obviously better here, as Jackie is slightly negative, but definitely not someone who you can sleep on here in this moment against Mariana Rivera. Full count. Rivera winds and delivers. He walked him. Jackie checks his swing and heads to first on the full count pitch. Jackie has taken second via stolen base, and now we have Tony Gwynn at the plate. Things getting very stressful for the home faithful here, as we've now got Mariana Rivera facing a left-handed batter, and up comes Tony Gwynn. As we've seen earlier in this game, one of the very toughest left-hand bats for right-handed pitchers to face. 1-2 count on him. The pitch. That ball lined into left field. It's going to go all the way to the wall. 1 run will score. Gwynn heading to second. He'll stop there. And he's tied it up. Still with nobody out here in the first. Or here in the ninth. Ty Cobb works a walk. And up comes Ken Griffey Jr. Mariana Rivera in a world of trouble here, as he faces a very difficult bat, especially in this ballpark. 1-0 count on him. The pitch. Grounder to second. To second one. Over to first. Double play. Rivera with a clutch twin killing to give him an opportunity to escape this jam, still in a tie ball game. The person standing between him and doing so is going to be Ricky Henderson. Advantage wildly to the pitcher in this one, as we're in a righty nerfed park, and you can see the picture in the bottom right of your screen here. 1-0 count, the pitch. Grounder up the middle, fielded at second, over to first in time. Expansions blow the save, but limit the damage and push to the bottom of the ninth, all tied up. First hitter is going to be Juan Soto. We've already seen him go yard once today. What does he have in store for an answer? 1-1. The wind and the pitch. Up the middle. Fading, and down. Juan Soto starts the ninth, representing the winning run with a single. Next batter, Wade Boggs. Full count on him. Big-time players make big-time plays in big-time moments, and Wade Boggs is looking to do that here. The right field line completely wide open here. If he's able to hook one down the first base line here, he likely wins the game in walk-off fashion. Full count. The pitch, runner goes. Swing and a miss, strike 3 down to second. In time! Hey, strike him out, throw him out, double play, as Boggs, not known for striking out all that frequently, swings through a 96-mile-an-hour sinker, and caught in the action there in the crossfire is Juan Soto. Next batter up, Willie Mays. What started as a very promising inning is now one batter away from pushing this game to extras. 0-1 count. The wind and the pitch. Willie Mays, little dinker, fielded off the mound, over to first in time. We've got some free baseball here at Expansions Park here in Game 1. Our first highlight with Rogers Hornsby in it. Hornsby, one of the very best hitters in this game, no doubt in that. We see that he's got a positive bat value versus same side pitchers. 2-2 count. Wind and the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Rivera starts the inning off with a strikeout. Now 2 away, and we see Bob Feller coming in the game. Bob Feller has a similar effect that we saw with Walter Johnson earlier. So here's Bob Feller, the starter, in 920 innings, and here's Bob Feller, the reliever. Night and day, like 2 different pitchers, and that has everything to do with his wild stuff boost that he gets. He faces Willie Mays here with 2 outs in the 10th. The pitch. Little dinker, third baseman coming in to play it. Gets it just before it escapes the field of play. Wade Boggs, quick on his feet and cat-like as he gets over there to retire that one and push us to bottom 10. We are in one swing territory here. One swing away, from having a winner. 1-2 count now on Rogers. The pitch. Line to short. Oh no, he biffed it. Picks it up, throw to first. Not in time. Not in time. We've got an error by the Ottawa Hammerheads. Let's check who the shortstop is there. That's Alex Rodriguez making the error there at short here late in game one. And that opens the door here for the expansions and brings up Ivan Rodriguez here with a man aboard and nobody out, still versus Rivera. The pitch, grounded to third, to second one, over to first, double play. My goodness, how many double plays have we seen? How many have we seen today? That feels like 4 or 5. Bottom 10 now. Jackie Robinson stands between Rivera and getting through the 10th. 0-2 count on him, the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Rivera strikes it out to end the inning. We go top 11. Feller still pitching for the expansions and facing Cap Anson here to lead off the 11th. Wind in the pitch. Little dinker, fielded on the mound. Feller across. 1 up, 1 down. Next up, Tony Gwynn. Nope, we've got 2 outs now, and Tony Gwynn to the plate. 2-2 count on him. Wind and the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Feller with a very strong 11th to push us to the bottom. And we'll lead off with Gwynn. Rivera has got to be piling up the pitches here. It's very likely we will not see him in game 2 and might even be jeopardizing game 3 at this point, depending on how many pitches he's logging. He'll lead off this inning versus Gwynn. Wind in the pitch. That ball hit well into the right center field gap at the top of the wall. It hits right on the yellow line. Gwynn will head to second and slide there. Inches away from winning this game with a rocket line shot that hit the yellow stripe out in right center field. He now represents the winning run as Rivera puts Cobb on to get to Pete Rose. And this game hangs in the balance. We see Rivera versus left and Pete Rose versus right. I've got the wrong Rivera. There's the right Rivera. Advantage to the hitter here. We've seen a billion double plays tonight. Will we see another? 2-0 count on Rose. The pitch. Grounder to the pitcher. To second one. Not able to complete it. So a productive out in that the runner moves to third. The winning run now 90 feet away with 1 out here in the 11th, and Pete Rose will be sitting on first base. And that brings up Juan Soto. Soto already with a home run tonight as well. Infield playing at double play depth. A-Rod and Jackie with a lot of faith in their ability to turn 2 before Soto gets to first and risking Gwynn scoring if they're unable to do so. Full count. Wind in the pitch. Liner to left. Base hit! That's going to do it! The expansions walk off game 1 with a Juan Soto liner to left. Hammerheads unable to get to that. That was Ricky Henderson with the diving effort there. Caught it on a hop. And scoring from third was Tony Gwynn. And the expansions win game 1 at home. Wow, if that's how we're starting this World Series, what are we in store for? What are we in store for? So let's look at the box score and see what went down here. We've got Gagne starting the game and had some trouble. Gave up 2 walks. Didn't give up any hits, but it looks like it's 2 walks and a hits batsman. No, just 2 walks. And both of them scored. And then we see Spawn come in with a very strong follower appearance. And then from there, Walter Johnson came in and blew everyone away. He recorded 5 outs, all of them via strikeout. And then things got a little interesting in the pen there as Rivera blew the save, as we saw. But Bob Feller with a dominant boosted appearance there to get the win. On the tech side of things, we had Pedro go. Wasn't Pedro's best outing, but solid nonetheless. going 8, giving up 4. Problem for him where it was the long ball. Gave up 2 homers. And then we see his copy of Rivera blow the game late. Yeah, it was not a banner day for the Mariana Rivera SE card, as one blew the save and the other got the loss. But heck of a game 1. Expansions take the series lead 1-0. Let's go ahead and update our score bug in the top right corner. We'll go 90s. That'll be the best way to abbreviate that. And then we are ready to load up our sim for game 2. All right, let's see if it's in. It sure is. All right, so we're going to start this game with Felix Hernandez. And we'll see if the expansions are using another opener here, or if Felix is going to be with us for some period of time. He's going up against a lineup that is nearly all right-handed bats. So I would wager a guess that this is another opener appearance and we'll have a lefty in short order. Because this is definitely not Tex versus right-hand pitching lineup. Yeah, pour one out for Tech's dream at being the first player ever to win every playoff game. That also goes away with that last sim. Look at this. We've got a foul ball. And Rose makes the play off screen. Incredible play by Pete Rose. Don't know how he caught it, but he did. And we're still in the first here. Hank Aaron's aboard. And Felix is now facing Willie Mays. 2 away. The pitch. That ball belted. Deep left center. Goodbye. Willie Mays puts the Hammerheads on the board with a 406-foot blast to left off of Felix Hernandez. Getting some boo birds here for the expansions. Here's a little looper to third. Make it 2 outs for the expansions. Now we've got 1 away. Bottom 2, Mays on first for Pudge, as the expansions are chasing 2 runs. Full count the pitch. That's ball 4. You don't want your Walter Johnson walking Ivan Rodriguez. Digs himself into a little hole, and that brings up Ozzie Smith. 0-2 count on him. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Walter Johnson records out number 2 here in the second. We now go top 3, and we see the expansion's intended follower, and it's none other than Tournament SE, Noodles Hahn. And he'll face Cap Manson here with 2 outs in the third. Let's go ahead and load up our Cap VL. We've seen it VR. We haven't seen it VL tonight. And we see that Cap Manson is a positive bat value versus left-hand pitching with a 788 OPS. Looking to tap into that now to extend the Hammerhead lead. 1-0 count the pitch. Lines it to right field and a base hit. Just past and out of the reach of Pete Rose. He gets an RBI single, pushing the lead to 3-0 Hammerheads. Bottom 3 now. Expansions trying to answer. They'll send up Ty Cobb to face Walter Johnson to do so. 1-0 count. Cobb is fiery emoji'd right now, and it looks like it's going to show as he goes deep to left center. It's time for sour cream and guac. We've got our first Oppo Taco of the World Series. Make it 3-1. Still bottom 3. Soto to the plate with Rose on first. 1-0 count, the pitch. That one's looped into left and sinking and down. 2 on, no one out for the Expansions as they are digging out of their 3-0 hole. They've got 2 more runs to go, and they'll send up Wade Boggs here. The pitch. Little looper, right center and sinking and down. Load them up with nobody away. Next batter up, Willie Mays, and this is a big moment. We're going to use our matchup analyzer here for it. As we look at Willie Mays' face of the franchise versus right, and we also look at Walter Johnson, face of the franchise versus right as well. Advantage to the pitcher here for sure, but Willie Mays still known to get into one every now and then versus same side pitching. 1-0 count on him. The pitch. That ball hit well to left. Ranging over and makes the grab. He's going to try to throw it home. Not in time. So the Expansions dig in one more run here. Reduce that lead to 3-2. Up comes Pop Lloyd. Pop Lloyd, who's been a central player in a lot of these World Series broadcasts, comes up here in a big moment. 3-1 count on him. Good base runner. Will look to avoid 2 at a minimum. Look to do more than that as well. 3-1 count. Line in the pitch. He walked him. Lloyd is aboard, which will set up Ivan Rodriguez now. A tired Ivan Rodriguez. A fatiguing Ivan Rodriguez. Down 0-2 in the count. The pitch. Grounded to short. To second, 1 over to first. Double play. Hammerheads with a clutch double play, which keeps that run off the board and keeps them in the captain's chair for this one. We go top 6 now. Expansion's trying to hold the game where it is here, whereas the Hammerheads are trying to add to their lead. It'll be Bob Feller versus Ozzie Smith. 2-1 count the pitch. Little dinker, fielded it short. Over to first in time on that strong throw. Strong throw by Ozzie Smith to make the play and retire Ozzie Smith. We go bottom 6 now. Expansion still seeking that equalizer run. And it's going to start off with Mays versus Johnson. He's worked the 3-0 count. And he swings 3-0 and lines it through the left side. So Willie Mays aboard to start the 6th. It's going to bring up Pop Lloyd. Full count on him. The pitch. That one looped into right. It's going all the way to the wall. Mays around second, heading to third. He's not going to stop there. Mays is going to go ahead and score. The throw to third nails Pop Lloyd. But the Expansions have tied it up. We now go top 7. We've got a brand new ball game. Second game in a row that we've got a stressor. And it'll be Feller facing Ricky Henderson to lead this off. And he walked him. If there's one guy in this game you don't want to walk, it's Ricky Henderson. Can do a lot of damage on the base paths. And now Hornsby comes to the dish with Feller on the mound for the Expansions. 1-0 count. First to pickoff throw. Henderson takes second via stolen base. And we've still got Hornsby at the dish. The pitch. Hornsby crushes that one down the left field line. Henderson will score easily. Hornsby on his way to second. And he gives the Hammerheads the lead. A punchy back and forth series so far for sure. And the Expansion's hoping there's one more punch left as they've got Soto up here. Bottom 7, 2 away. Little dinker to second. Easy field, easy throw. That's going to end the threat. We now go bottom 8. Another highlight for the Expansions. We've got Wade Boggs starting versus Trevor Hoffman. 2-1 count. Wind in the pitch. That ball looped down the left field line. That's trouble. It's going to ring around in the corner. And Boggs will be on his way to second with a slide-in double to lead off this 8th inning. The expansions, every time they need a rally, they're able to find one. Up next, Willie Mays. 0-1 count the pitch. Little grounder to short. Runner holds. Across the diamond in time. Unproductive out there for Willie Mays. Just what the doctor ordered for the Hammerheads. And they'll now have to face Pop Lloyd. Full count on him. The pitch. Little dinker. Left field. Playable. Ball's caught. And no advancement there. 2 away now. This rally comes down to Ivan Rodriguez. We haven't seen it yet tonight, so I'll show you guys the gruesomeness that is Ivan Rodriguez versus right-hand pitching. As you look at the split here, advantage wildly in favor of the pitcher. 2-2 count. That ball hit to center, playable. And that will end the rally for the expansions. The Hammerheads will bring a lead into the 9th. And now we'll see them test that lead. Mariana Rivera on the hill to close it down. We'll go ahead and load up his splits. We're going to be needing them, that's for sure. And we'll get Rogers Hornsby as well. Advantage to the pitcher as we lead off this inning here. And remember, we're still in a park that nerfs out righties to the max. Rivera to Hornsby. 2-0 count. Hornsby as a pinch hitter. The pitch. Fly ball to center. Playable and routine. Willie Mays makes the grab, and that's 1 up, 1 down. Now 2 away as we bring up Tony Gwynn. 3-1 count on him. The wind and the pitch. He walked him. The expansions, rally generators. And they've got one here with Gwynn aboard and 1 away. Next up, Ty Cobb, which is the single guy that you'd choose to have in this moment if you had your druthers. And the expansions need him to come up big here, or they risk splitting this series right down the middle. The pitch. Grounder to second. To second, 1 over to first. In time. And the Hammerheads win the game via an unlikely Ty Cobb game-ending double play. And if you're the Hammerheads and you had to play 2 tough games in a lefty park, trotting out a bunch of righties, leaving with a 1-1 series tie is absolutely a W. Let's look at the box and see what happened. So for the 90s, we see our second iteration of the opener-follower mechanic as Felix Hernandez started the game, and we see the second iteration of it not going to plan. Hernandez struggled. Gave up a hit, gave up a walk, responsible for 2 of the runs that ended up crossing early. Noodles Hahn came in as the follower, and he did a decent job, 4 1/3 innings, scattered 6 base runners, but only 1 run. And then Feller came in, yielding up the last run of the game before Hoffman and Gagne closed it down. On the Ottawa side of things, we saw Walter Johnson with a quality start in 7 innings here. He did yield 12 base runners, but only 3 were able to find their way home. Didn't get a ton of strikeouts there. It was only 4 through 7 innings. And then Hoffman and Rivera with what feels like a very rare, eventless 8th and 9th inning. So there we have it, guys. We are tied 1-1 after 2, and we are heading to Ottawa. Ottawa is a neutral ballpark, so a lot of the things that we've been thinking about and considering to this point will not be true there. They were on much more of an even footing. Let's go ahead and load up the most recent sim. It shouldn't be a game. It should be the off day, but it should be ready for us. So who's got a bet that they want to change at this point in time? We had some people picking winners in 4 games. That's definitely not happening. This one's going at least 5. We'll go ahead and update our score bug too in the top right corner, with Ottawa taking game 2. Looks like Peninsula is propelled to the perfect party, winning D358. Congratulations to you. Let's see, do we have any other Diamond champs in the chat here? Who else is coming up from Diamond? I know Crazy Katie is. We saw her earlier. So we should have our sim here for game 3 in just about 4 minutes. Mocos Locos 2134 just picked up a win in D371. And we've got the Minneapolis Millers reporting from D359. Congratulations to you guys. Welcome to the show. Perfect League is no easy task, that's for sure. One of the things that I was noticing from Jay Malay's stats that he was posting within the Perfect Team Discord chat is that it seemed like there was at least a slight trend line down from the win totals for the division winners over time, meaning that there's more parity, that we're seeing more up and down parity across all of the divisions. I mean, look at this NC Central right here. You see a division with 5 teams over 500. And we see the worst team in all of Perfect are logging 67, 68 wins, with the exception of 1. And that definitely has not always been the case. Crusader Fan 2000, congrats to you for winning 354. Says he's going to be annihilated. You don't know. Come on up, build a plan, execute your plan, and see where the chips fall. Brawlin' Birds, 356. Kudos to you. Feel sad for Chuck. Chuck is getting relegated from Perfect this week, heading back down to the grinder, the meat grinder that is DLL. You see his Trash Pandas here with an 81 and 81. Very respectable Perfect League season here. No shame in 81 and 81. No shame at all. All right, 2 minutes to the sim, and then we'll have game 3 in the books. As we wait for that to come in, we can take a look at some league leaders here in Perfect League. So as a reminder, Perfect League is the very top of the Perfect League universe. Let's show you a picture in case you're unfamiliar. So the way that it works is you work your way up. You get into entry pool, build your original team, open some starter packs, and then you get into Rookie League. And then you try to have a good enough season to get promoted to Stone. Same to Iron, to Bronze, Silver, Gold, Diamond. And once you get to Diamond, you have to win your league to earn passage into Perfect League. No easy task in any Diamond League. And then once you're in Perfect League, you've got a greater than 50% chance of being relegated every week. 24 of 40 teams are sent down weekly. Puma time. Puma time is right, Chuck. One team that I called out on last week's stream, the Edmundston River Sharks, they found their way to the relegation Puma this week, but had an incredible run running a very unique team. running. It looks like Ty Cobb got in there this week, but the last 2 weeks here in Perfect, there was no Ty Cobb. There was no Tony Gwynn. And even so, they were able to make the Perfect League playoffs the last 2 seasons. So kudos to them for that 3-week stint here in Perfect League. I say kudos too much. I need to get a new congratulatory word. Congrats. Way to go. High fives. Maybe you guys have a better word. Props, says Gorgo 2005. So as we prepare for Game 3 here, we're expecting a Pedro v. Warren Spawn matchup. 2 of the best pitchers in this game. Slight advantage to Pedro there. But we'll see what types of lineups and strategies we see employed. All right, I'm going to go ahead and load up the very next sim. I wonder what Dishnet's rooting for. If Dishnet gets a 5-game series, then he gets an earlier evening and an earlier stream. If he gets a 7-game series, he gets a more exciting series, but he has to go on later. Dishnet rooting for a good series. Oh, and he gets more packs. I didn't even think of that. All right, so we are into this game. This looks like the Toronto Blue Jays Stadium. Someone correct me if I'm off base here, but this looks like, what is it, the Rogers Center? Is that what they call it? And we do see Warren Spawn taking the hill for the Hammerheads as they will play 3 games here in their home park. So let's look at Warren Spawn, the starter. Look in your bottom right corner here. We see a strong FIP, below league average whip, incredible walk prevention. Definitely good reason that he's one of the more reliable arms within Perfect. He starts this game against Jackie. Wide in the pitch, and Jackie lines it to third. Makes the play and across the diamond. 1 up, 1 down as Hornsby goes deep into the hole to make that one. We go top 2. It's our first Joe DiMaggio highlight. I think it's because it's the first time we've seen the expansion's VL lineup. And we've got Super Joe batting with Pete Rose on first. Let's go ahead and get some Joe DiMaggio splits. I'm curious to see what kind of volume we're talking about with Joe. Definitely someone who was played very widely in his early days, and we've seen that start to trail off. So as we combine versus left and versus right, we've got 14,000 plate appearances in the last 3 years. That's definitely not a small sample at all. And we see his versus left, very slug-heavy profile here with it at 823 OPS. Rose on first. Big infield shift as DiMaggio hits into it, right into a twin killing. 6-4-3 double play. DiMaggio thrown out by 7 or 8 steps. Bottom 2 now. We've got Pedro facing Willie Mays. 0-1 count on him. The wind and the pitch. And he gets into that one. It might be. It could be. It is a home run. And the Hammerheads faithful love it as Willie Mays has given the home fans a 1-0 lead on that 430-foot bomb. Pedro Martinez can be a little on the homer-prone side, and we see that here. Still bottom 2, and Pedro still got himself in some trouble here. He's facing Ken Griffey, and he's got Jackie Robinson on third with 1 away. The pitch. Griffey gets into that one. Deep right center. Forget about it. 3-0 Hammerheads. When Pedro goes wrong, oftentimes it's connected to his 87 movement. Oftentimes it's because he's getting hit with that long ball. And so far we are seeing that here in Game 3. We go now top 6. The expansions with only 1 hit to this point. And we've got our first Roy Campanella highlight, which gives us an opportunity to highlight him for the first time. As we'll go ahead and pop up his profile and then contextualize that versus Spawn's profile. Campanella with a slug-heavy profile versus left does struggle with the on-base percentage. He's got a 2-2 count here with 1 away in the 6th. The pitch. And he gets into that one! Way back! Back! Gone! Campanella, 433 feet to slightly right of center, and the expansions are on the board. That slug-heavy profile from Campy coming out there, and that solo shot. Still top 6. Spawn working through some more trouble here as Ozzie Smith has reached after Campy. And now he faces Jackie Robinson, the pitch. That ball's lined into the corner in right field. Smith around second on his way to third. Jackie going for 2. He'll be in there with a double. Oh, and no one's stopping running. Jackie's going to make it all the way to third. An RBI triple. As we had Jackie Robinson of the Hammerheads hold that relay throw, not go to the plate, not go to third base, and that puts up another run on the board for the expansions. Infield now comes in for Tony Gwynn. And we'll also flash Warren Spawn's very strong profile, very strong statistics versus left-handed batters. That FIP comes way down. That homer per 9 comes way down. Hammerhead's looking to make the play at the plate. Expansion's looking to find a hole here. 1-1 count the pitch. Liner to right field, base hit. Tony Gwynn with an RBI single gives us a new ball game here in the 6th. Top 6 still. Gwynn still on first. Full count now for Hornsby. And this is where you spell some trouble. You've got a pitcher who's been in this game for a long time facing a right-handed batter that couldn't be any more dangerous than what you see in your bottom right corner. 904 OPS. A bat value well over 30. Full count on him, the pitch. And he gets into that one. Deep to left center field. It's going off the wall. Gwynn around second, heading to third. He's going to try to score. Hornsby on his way to third. He'll slide in with an RBI triple. And the expansions work their way all the way back from down 3-0. And now lead 4-3. Make it 5-3 as we go top 8. Expansions back at the dish with Hoffman versus Robinson. We'll go ahead and get Trevor up. You know, it's funny, when every game comes down to Hoffman and Mariano, of course the times that they fail you are going to stick out more in your head. Because the times that they quote-unquote do what they're supposed to do, you know, you don't really pay much mind to that. And so the perception is that Hoffman and Mariano are blowing all these games. And the reality is that they're the only guys ever pitching in those spots. And so, yes, they are blowing all those games, but they're also holding just as many leads as well. All right, top 8. Jackie at the dish. The pitch. That ball, little looper into left center. It's going to get down. Jackie will hold it first with a 1-out single as the expansions look to extend their lead. Hornsby back to the dish. Dangerous bat. 2-2 count on him. The pitch. And he gets one into left. That ball's going to get down. They'll hold the runner at second. And so the expansion's now working on a little rally here with 2 away in the 8th. The rally comes to nothing. And now it is It is crunch time as we are turning again to Mariana Rivera. Rivera versus Hornsby. The Hammerheads need base runners. Can't tie this game. Can't tie this game with no one aboard. 2-1 count. The pitch. Little grounder to second. Easy pick, easy throw. 1 up, 1 down. Next up is Tony Gwynn. He gets out. And last hope here for the Hammerheads before falling down in a 2-1 hole will be Willie Mays. We see Willie Mays definitely better versus left-hand pitching. The 304 on base, not exactly what you'd want in this moment when a base runner is the most precious thing that you could get. 0-1 count. Infield shifted, the pitch. Little looper, left field, lazy fly. Not going to get it done. And your 90s expansions win Game 3. Taking back home field advantage and taking a 2-1 lead within the series. They get their interpretive dance on out in front of home plate. And will head back to the clubhouse, leading 2-1. Let's look at the box. We do see that on the win expectancies chart, we had a wild turnover here, and that was due to that 6th inning that the Hammerheads just couldn't get out of. As we go to the box here, we see that Warren Spahn just couldn't get himself out of trouble and yielded all 5 of those runs. I saw Tech in the chat bemoaning his slider settings not being adhered to. So I think what he's referencing there or referring to is wanting Spahn to have been pulled by then. It wasn't meant to be. After Spahn came out with the damage done there in the 6th, Sale, Hoffman, and Price put up 3 clean innings. 3 scoreless innings, but the damage had been done. On the expansion side, we see another utilization of the opener follower mechanic, with Tommy Glavine opening this game, going 3 batters, doing 3 up, 3 down in the first, and then Pedro Martinez coming in and going 7 strong, giving up 4, striking out 5, giving up 4 hits, striking out 5, and giving up 3 runs, even though he was touched with those 2 long balls. And then Rivera came on for a completely uneventful 9th. 3 up, 3 down save. Let's take a look at how our bullpens are doing as we head to Game 4. So from a rest perspective, expansion's in really good shape here with everyone in play, with the exception of Tom Glavine, who likely, if he were a reliever, there you see it, he's a 74% rest status as a reliever. So he'd really in play if he got into a pinch. If we go 20 innings here, we'll see some Glavine, and he'll be just fine. And then on the other side of town, for the Hammerheads here, we see Sale and Price probably prefer not to use them, but Carlton is fully rested in case you do need that lefty specialist. And then the rest of the pen is good to go. Although Hoffman and Rivera definitely less than 100%. So Rich Jiminy, not a fan of the opener. Yeah, I think that's one of the better debates that rages on in the community. Do we hate the opener? Do we hate the pseudo starter? Definitely find a good wide range of opinions on both topics. I think as you look at the practical application, if you see a lineup like this, if you see a lineup with 6 righties in a row, why wouldn't you want to sink a righty into that for a couple innings before handing over to your lefty if your lefty is the preferred option? Seems to make a ton of sense. So we're at 2-1 expansions. Yeah, I think that if we lived in a world where you had more balanced lineups, there'd be really no point in pseudo starting, and there'd be no point in opener follower. And I could totally agree with that. All right, let's load up our new sim and see if it's in yet. Do we have any other Diamond champions reporting in the chat here? Who won DLL? I hadn't seen that. I know it was Somerset Dolphins versus... Who were they against? Was it the Frogs? I can't recall. But someone tell me who won. All right, sim not in yet. I'll try to reload it here in a second. Froggies. Wait till next year's Frogs are heading up to perfect. Congratulations. Bravo. Laramie Mustangs coming up. Mango Sandwich got Puma'd. MD 23471 liked the pivot table lesson we had on one of our recent streams. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad you got something out of that. Yeah, RDT, I don't know if you saw our Thursday stream, but we were talking about just that same thing. We were talking about how blinding the opener follower would make it so that you wouldn't need to do anything other than make your decision there. You wouldn't need to come up with an alternative way of deploying. You'd just be able to set your lineup, because why would the opposing team know what you're going to do with your starter, your follower? All right, we go game 4. We have got a sim. We are all loaded up. Let's get to it. Let me update game 3 in my score bug before I forget. As the 90s take game 3. Okay, so what do we got? We have the Hammerheads trotting out face of the franchise, Greg Maddux. And so one of the questions I get often is, how good is Greg Maddux face of the franchise versus Legend? And so let's compare the two real quick before we start this game. So here's Greg Maddux Legend. This is the 100 rated card that many teams are still using at this point in time. And then I just lost him. Where'd you go, Greg? There you are. Here's face of the franchise. So if you blink, you might miss it because they look so close. Face of the franchise is better. Undoubtedly better. Better on the FIP, better on the whip, better on the home run avoidance. But the difference is fractions. All right, let's get this game started. The Hammerheads throw Maddux, and leading off for the expansions is going to be Gwynn. One-two count the pitch. Gwynn gets into one, deep to center, giving pace. Oh, and a leaping catch by Ken Griffey Jr. Maybe he was hot dogging it. Maybe he had to do it. But starts off the game with a leaping grab deep in center, preventing extra base hits. Now we go top 2. Maddux still on the hill, facing Pudge with Mays on first and 2 away. 2-2 count, the pitch. And Pudge rifles it the opposite field. Into the gap. Mays around second on his horse. Gets to third. Willie try to score. He gets the green light. And there will be no throw. The Expansions dent the scoreboard here in the second and take an early lead as they effort to go up 3-1 here in this series. Bottom three now. Maddox still on the hill. It's a different Maddox. This is the Expansions Maddox. So we've got a Maddox war. And he's facing Ozzie Smith with nobody out here in the bottom of the third. The pitch. Ozzie loops it into center. Those are the kind of hits you get from Ozzie. And he's going to extend this rally. Make it 2-on, nobody out for Ty Cobb. Advantage to the hitter here, for sure. Bottom three, and Ty Cobb at the dish. The pitch. Cobb lines it to second one. Not able to complete the double play. Unable to get the ball out of his glove, and Cobb will now be aboard at first. First and third, one away for Rogers Hornsby. We'll go ahead and toggle split there. Toggle Maddox's split so that you see how he does versus right-hand batters. Definitely still a plus pitcher, and he faces Hornsby here. But first, a pickoff throw. So Polycarp opened a 99 Boggs, asking if he should sell it. I think a lot of people would argue that the answer to that question would be yes. All right, 1-1 count on Hornsby. The pitch. Loops to center. Base hit. And the Hammerheads have tied it up. Heading to third is Cobb. He'll beat the throw. And Hornsby has knotted us at 1. Next batter up, Tony Gwynn, looking to give the Hammerheads their first lead of this game. 1-1 count on him. The pitch. Grounded to third. To second one. Cannot complete the double play, which means Ty Cobb scores from third base, and the Hammerheads take a 2-1 lead. Time warp time. We time warp to the bottom of the sixth, and we've still got the Expansions Maddox on the mound. Hammerheads have visions of extending this lead. Full count for Roger Connor. We haven't seen Roger Connor yet, so let's go ahead and pull him up. You see a very good profile versus right, an on-base heavy profile with that 367 standing out as the most strong number for him. The pitch. He walked him. Connor works a full count walk, and Maddox in a world of trouble here trying to keep this game at a 1-run deficit, and he'll need to do so against Jackie Robinson. Now, Jackie, we've seen his split before. One of the few hitters in the game that does a decent job versus his same-side pitcher. He'll be hitting with a drawn-in infield here. Boggs, Smith, Lloyd, and Rose all on the cut of the grass, trying to get the lead runner at the plate. The pitch. Liner to right field. That ball's down. 1 run is in. Here comes another run. He'll score. Make it 4-1 Hammerheads here in the sixth. We'll get a cheer for the home crowd on that one. As you know, they're excited about those insurance runs coming across the plate. Top 7 now. Time for the Expansions to get to work. Still working against the face of the franchise Maddox of the Hammerheads. And they'll start here with Mays. And Mays gets into one. To the power alley, and power he showed. Willie Mays takes an 0-2 pitch beyond the left center field wall and gives that Expansions dugout a little shot in the arm as they're looking to play spoiler late in Game 4. Bottom 8 now. If you're the Expansions, you have got to stop the bleeding. You've got to get a clean inning so you can give your team a chance in the ninth at coming back from a 2-run deficit. But the Hammerheads looking to add on. 2-2 count on Gwynn. The wind and the pitch. And Gwynn knifes it into left field. That's a leadoff single for him. He'll make an aggressive turn and head back to first. No run score in the 8th. And it is crunch time. And we've got Mariana on the mound. What else is new? What else is new? Mariana on the mound to close out a game. And he'll start with Pete Rose. Splits are updated in the bottom right corner of your screen. Rivera comes set and delivers. Little dinker to third. Going to be a tough play. Rose on his way to first. He beats it. A leadoff infield single for Pete Rose as the expansions needed a base runner, and a base runner they got. And that brings up Juan Soto. We already saw Juan Soto go deep in games 1 and 2 of this series, looking for an opportunity to further this rally for the expansions here in the 9th. 2-2 count. The pitch. Lines it into right field, a base hit. Heading around second and holding is Pete Rose, as Soto has now put 2 on and nobody out. Up next is Wade Boggs. Things are not getting any easier here for Mariana Rivera. As you see Wade Boggs triple slash in the bottom right corner of your screen at that 294, 378, 433. And he's looking to stay out of the double play here and keep this rally going. 0-1 count on the pitch. Liner to center field, another base hit. Around third and holding is Pete Rose, and they are now loaded. Mariana Rivera has gotten himself into the stickiest of situations, and he'll have to get out of it against Willie Mays here. Advantage to the pitcher in this matchup here. If you're the Hammerheads, you'd happily trade a double play for a run scored just to get 1 step closer, 2 steps closer to polishing off this game. Full count on Mays. Anything can happen. Big spot here in game 4. Juan in the pitch. He walked him. Rivera walks a run in. Mays heads down to first. The 2-run lead becomes a 1-run lead. And they're still loaded. There's still nobody out. And we had Pop Lloyd coming to the plate, and Pop Lloyd has been lifted. Pop Lloyd has been lifted for a much better hitter in Rogers Hornsby. Same-sidedness be darned. And now Hornsby bats with a drawn-in infield here as the Hammerheads are trying to hold on to this one. 2-2 count on Hornsby. The pitch. Hornsby lines it down the left field line. It's going all the way to the wall. 1 run will score. 2 runs will score. And the expansions have taken the lead in the 9th, and there are still nobody out. 5-4 lead. Ivan Rodriguez works a walk. So we're back where we started. Bases loaded, nobody out. Infield drawn in, and Smith comes to the plate. Nightmare inning for the Hammerheads. 1-0 count. The pitch to Ozzie, and he lines a base hit to left. 1 run scores. Runner will hold it third, so make it 6-4 expansions. And the inning that shall not be named to the Hammerheads continues on as they are in search of their first out, as we are on batter number 8, batter number 7 of the inning. And batter number 7 comes in the form of Tony Gwynn. Definitely advantage to the hitter on this one. 1-2 count, the pitch. And the ball gets away from the catcher. Running home and scoring is Rogers Hornsby. So they finally escape the jam of being bases loaded and nobody out, but the way they escape it is with a pass ball or wild pitch. Rivera having just the worst outing I think I might have ever seen. And we've now got even more on the board. It's now 8-4 expansions, and there's still nobody out. Bring up Ty Cobb, and it's not any old Ty Cobb. This is fire Ty Cobb. 1-0 count on him. The pitch. And Cobb gets into that one. Forget about it. The exclamation point on the inning provided by Ty Cobb as he scores runs 8, 9, and 10 of the inning for the expansions here. Make it 11-4, and a shell-shocked Ottawa fan base here has nothing to do but watch this one end. And it's going to end on a little dinker to second. And what was a 4-2 lead entering the ninth becomes an 11-4 shellacking at home. And you can certainly relate with the expansion's interpretive dance routine out in front of home plate now. What a game. Let's go to the box score. And this run expectancy chart looks just about what you'd expect. The game was in hand for the Hammerheads, and Rivera just couldn't get any outs. Look at this inning. 1 inning pitched, 7 hits, 2 walks. So he faced 12 batters and got 3 of them out. That is a rough outcome there for Ottawa. Now, if you'll remember, we looked at pitcher stamina before the game. I think Rivera was at 76, which is definitely playable, definitely pitchable. But I just wonder if his lower fatigue level had anything to do with this nightmare appearance here today. And then for the expansions, we see another utilization of the opener mechanic with David Price starting the game off with 3 batters, getting all 3 of them out, 2 via strikeout. Handing over to Greg Maddux, who goes 6 strong innings, giving up 4. Was in line for the loss before the 9th inning heroics. And then reliever Walter Johnson came in and blew everyone away again. So what a game 4. That game turned on a dime. And now the expansions are into long sim territory. What is long sim territory, you might ask? Well, the long sim happens on the last sim of the last game of a season. And so we've got the 90s expansions up 3-1. And so if this sim takes an inordinate amount of time, we have a pretty good guess as to what the outcome will be. Let me go ahead and try to load up the next sim. And if it doesn't load up, then we might be killing some time here before it's available. What a game 4. So much of our chat, so much of our focus has been about Hoffman and Rivera and their drama in late innings, and boy, did we see some just now. All right, sim is not ready for me. So has anyone in the chat ever had a Mariana Rivera special edition outing that bad before? Has anyone ever seen it? 9 earned runs in 1 inning. I've never seen that. I have never seen that, and definitely not on this stage either. Let's see how he did in the regular season. So this Mariano, he picked up 37 saves on the way to a 3.08 ERA, walking nearly no one. He walked 7 batters in 64 innings, and we just saw him walk 2 batters in 1 inning. And this Mariano here gave up less than a hit per inning during the regular season. Just picked a worst time for his worst outing. As we look at the game logs of the Hammerheads Mo, let's find the second worst outing of the year. What would it have even looked like? Here it is. September 27th. There was an outing where he gave up 3 runs and 2 homers. So his outing here in game 4 was 3 times worse than his worst outing all season. Talk about timing. That's a tough one. That's a real tough one. But yet, you go to the league leaders. Let's go to the pitching leaders here. And I bet you he's going to be slots 1 through 7 in saves. I guess you've got people alternating between him and Hoffman. So it's Hoffman or Rivera. That's who you're running as closer. As we look at qualified relief pitchers here, just to see some of the names that are having success within the bullpens. Here's a Liam Hendricks sighting. Liam Hendricks, one of my favorite cards in the game that I don't own. I'd love to get my hands on that one day. You see Price, Hoffman, a Randy Johnson with a really strong league and perfect. You don't see as many of that anymore. Look at the last 3 years of this Randy Johnson. Holy cow. Whatever this guy's feeding Randy Johnson. Who is this? Fubon Guardians? 3 consecutive seasons with an ERA under 2.5. Although it looks like this one might have been a little fueled by some luck here with 56 walks and 83 innings pitched. As we look at the leaderboard for hitting, you see a lot of the familiar names. Batting average is almost always Gwynn or Cobb. This week it was Gwynn. You see more Gwynns than Cobb, so that's pretty normal. We see a Willie Mays here on a home run leaderboard. That doesn't happen as much anymore, typically because people are not playing him every day as much. But if you get him in a righty cheese park, play him every day, and if you're in a division that doesn't have too much lefty cheese, I could see that happening. Slugging percentage led by Hornsby's and Cobb's. That makes sense. Let's look for an off-the-wall name. Something here that, look at that. Pete Rose led the league in at-bats. It's the Lyle Keg Guzzlers, Naperville's neighbor. Gave their Charlie Hustle 680 plate appearances. We see a Tris Speaker sighting at the top of the triples leaderboard. Ooh, here's a trained Nap. Yep, I knew it. He is a trained Nap. So Knapp led the league in strikeouts. There's a Concepcion. So here's one of the rare SE. Concepcion here, 109 range. Got a lot of play for the Portland Piranhas. Enough play to strike out 210 times. Bailey OOTP asking if Tris Speaker's obsolete, and I'll say absolutely not. Now, a lot of people have made other decisions about what to do for that role. And that role for Speaker is often left field, platoon versus right-hand pitching only. That's really the role, I guess. You don't see people putting him in right. You don't see people DHing with him. And so for that role, you see people going other directions. But if you look in the bottom right of your corner here, he's still putting up numbers. He's still a wildly positive bat value here with 15.86. He plays a fine left field. I think his range is 92. Let me confirm that. 90. So 90 range on Tris. And then in addition to what you see here as a bat value perspective, he's going to add value on the bases as well with positive BSR because of his base running capability here. A very high stealing rating, good speed, and then above average base running. And so as you look at him, we'll use Chuck's Tris Speaker as an example here. You look at his typical run rate from a speed perspective, and you're talking 30 plus steals at a very competitive rate, a very competitive success rate. So Speaker absolutely still has a spot if you're running a lefty cheese park. I think he's fantastic for your left fielder. T-Thong me looking for data on Carlton, Felix Newhouser, and Pete Rose. Yeah, let's get into some of that data. Let's get into some of these new lefties. We'll start with Steve Carlton. All right, here's the right Carlton. So what we have here is a pretty good sample size. We've got 1,281 innings of Carlton versus left, and the results are just filthy domination. Look at this. 2.16 FIP, 102 WHIP, K per 9, almost double league average, not giving up any homers, and his walk rate, which is his challenge because his control isn't great, versus left at least, is better than league average. So you'd be hard-pressed to find someone who's going to be meaner to left-handed batters than Steve Carlton. Let's look at some of the other names you had. We'll look at Hal Newhouser and see how much we have on him. I'm guessing it's going to be significantly less. Here's Newhouser. So we've got 231 innings. We still see left-handed dominance, so 222 FIP. K per 9 that's actually better than what we saw for Carlton. And a home run avoidance that's incredible as well. Now here the walks have gone over league average. So you're getting a little bit of a Carlos Marmol effect here where the walks are really, really high. Hey, what's going on, Hitman? All right, let's see. Who else did you ask for? You asked for the new Felix. Let's check that out. Here's our buddy Felix. So this sample size is not anything to really make any wild conclusions off of, as we've got 77 innings VR. We've got 73 innings VL. So I would pour cold water on any of these numbers meaning too much. But in this small sample size, we see a pretty good FIP here with a strong K per 9 and then some average peripherals around it. And then versus left, we see a really ugly profile with an unbelievable amount of walks, 7.2 per 9. But again, too small of a sample to judge on. And then Dish asking about Sale. I don't have Chris Sale data yet, so that's going to be part of my export tonight that I'll be able to put in. But I think that the early returns on Chris Sale are probably better than what Kidneys and I were talking about on Thursday. You know, I immediately compared him to David Price, and I think that's an apt comparison. But I think that I was overrating the impact of Price's better control versus right. So Price is at 92 and Sale's at 91. And while control is the most important of the three ratings, the other ones matter too. And Price, I believe, is at 77 movement, whereas Sale versus right is at 80. And then Sale also has higher stuff versus right, which is going to mean less balls in play and less opportunity to be taken advantage of via the long ball. So I think that whereas I compared him on Thursday to an off-brand version of David Price, I do still expect David Price to be better versus left, but I think that Sale's slightly better profile versus right could make him more apt to be started, because any left-handed starting pitcher, as Warren Spahn can attest, is facing tons and tons and tons and tons of righties. And so while David Price will be better versus left, that's not all that relevant if we're talking about a deployment as a starting pitcher. Yeah, Rich Jiminy looking at Sale as a closer. I think you could do it. I mean, if you don't have Hoffman or Rivera, or you're just sick of seeing what we've been seeing on this stream where those guys keep blowing it, you know, you could put Sale there. I think depending on your team build, there's probably an opportunity to have him in your rotation, or have him as a lefty specialist or an opener, or, maybe if you're running lefty cheese, maybe even like a stopper type role. But certainly in that discussion for sure. All right, let's check on this sim and see if it's in. Yeah, we're right at the 15 minutes after when it should be in. This is right around where we normally get it. But it's still not in. So we will keep sitting tight. What do you guys think of my new background? I ditched my fireplace that I was rocking on Thursday, and I went with the cool, whatever you'd call these. Yeah, thanks for the positive feedback there, Hitman. I mean, there's so much data to explore in this game. It's an obsession. It's definitely an obsession. Between downloading tournament data to downloading Made League data, it's awesome. And I feel as though it helps add flavor to what it is we're seeing. Like when we see Pop Lloyd ring a triple off the wall versus David Price, and we see that happen on the back of splits like this. So there's David Price versus left. And where's my buddy Pop? Where's my buddy Pop? There he is. So there have been multiple streams where we've seen Pop Lloyd come up with big hits versus David Price. And so while I love having the splits there as a tool to enhance our understanding of what's going on, you still never know what's going to happen. That's the beauty of it. I remember there was one series, gosh, it must have been a couple months ago now, that Pudge kept hitting home runs. Maybe someone's in the chat that remembers that series, or maybe that was even one of their teams. But there was one series where Pudge hit a couple of homers in the same game for one team, and then the Pudge on the other side hit a home run as well. And I want to say at least a couple of them were versus right-handed pitchers as well. So, crazy stuff. But that's what makes it all the more fun. It's unpredictable. It's just like baseball. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen in a given playoff series. One of the greatest tricks that baseball media ever pulled on us is tying a nice little narrative on a bow for why we're seeing what we're seeing. You know, some team is reaching deeper and gutting through a victory, or some batter is employing some approach at the plate that is unique to them and is the single and sole reason why they came through in that moment. At the end of the day, it's just baseball. You know, sometimes a pitcher executes a pitch. Sometimes a hitter puts bat to ball. You know, and the baseball writers' jobs are to tie that narrative around it and to make it interesting and to come up with the personal stories behind what it is that just happened. But oftentimes it's just baseball. You know, you get a 5-game series or 7-game series to determine who is the better team in Major League Baseball. It's just not big enough. It's just not a statistically big enough sample to really determine anything other than who won, who was the first team to 3 wins or the first team to 4 wins. Yeah, T-Thong me with a great little nugget in the chat there. Stats provide the expectation. Baseball is about the variance. I like that. I like that a lot. That's good. Someone like Brett Phillips can absolutely get a game-winning hit. I mean, how many heroes have we had in the history of baseball that are just off the wall? Like, I know, like Mark Lemke for the Braves and their run in the 90s earned their reputation as being like a playoff performer. But, I mean, was he, or was that just when he happened to put bat to ball? I'm going to go ahead and try to put Sim down again as we're at 19 minutes. Still not in. Someone confirm for me who's in the perfect league that it is still not in on their end as well. I want to make sure I'm not making a mistake on my end. Definitely want to bring you this as fresh as we can. Yeah, who is your favorite postseason hero? Who is your favorite guy who came up big in a moment that might not necessarily have been known for that during the regular season? That's a good question. I know for the Cubs, and I'm sure you guys are more than sick of hearing my little Cubs anecdotes here and there, but I think back to the 2016 NLCS versus the Dodgers, and we had Miguel Montero as one of 3 catchers on the team. He wasn't particularly good at hitting. He wasn't particularly good at fielding. He wasn't particularly good at framing. He was just a third catcher on the team. And he came up in an absolutely huge spot in, what game would that have been? Game 1. Game 1 of the NLCS. And hit a grand slam off of, I'm not going to remember his name right now, but someone throwing cement mixer sliders. Dude, these sliders that absolutely were not doing anything other than spinning on top of home plate. And Montero swung through 2 of them, fouling them back before he went ahead and deposited one in the right field bleachers and absolutely won the game. Joe Buck was on the call. And, like or don't like Joe Buck, one thing you got to respect about him is he's good at his craft, because he had either preloaded or was able to come up on the spot. Miguel Montero, Game 1 hero. And that's a line that most Cubs fans will remember. Aaron Boone from Rich Jiminy, that's a good one. Oh, Jimmy Leyritz. Jimmy Leyritz is the perfect example. Was that 96? 96 World Series in like Game 3 or 4 in Atlanta? Going deep, I think it was against Mark Wohlers. Right down the left field line. Yep. That's a good one. Scott Brocious. Yeah, I mean, I'm serious, T-Thong me. Like, do you think that was something that Joe Buck came up with in the moment? So Montero goes into the bleachers, and then Buck just has that moment of brilliance as he's trying to narrate what happened? Or do you think maybe Montero steps into the box and Joe Buck says to himself, okay, if he comes up big here, here's what I'm going to say. If he rings a double off the left field wall and clears the bases, I'm saying Miguel Montero, Game 1 hero? Or do you think it was all spontaneous? I don't know the answer. All right, let's try to load up the sim again. We got to be getting there. 23 minutes past the schedule. We've got to be there now. Dogberry dropping a Bill Mazeroski, and I'll be the first to claim that I am not learned enough on my baseball history to be able to know what moment you're referring to. We've got a sim, guys. We have got a sim, and it's Game 5, and it's coming at you. Oh, Yuka dropping a Dave Roberts. That's a good one. Stealing that base. All right, guys. So Game 5. The stakes are huge. Look in the top right of your screen, and you see that the 90s are 1 away from a win. It's basically like we're playing OK Boomer, OK Zoomer up in here. 90s are winning and reigning supreme. And so the 90s are in the blue jerseys, or in the blue name badges, I should say. And they're facing the Ottawa Hammerheads' Pedro Martinez. And we'll get it started with Tony Gwynn. Here at the Rogers Center Park. 1-0 count on Gwynn, the pitch, and Gwynn loops it into left. He'll start the game with a base hit. Leadoff single for Gwynn, which is going to bring up Ty Cobb. Not any Ty Cobb, but fire Ty Cobb, and Cobb gets aboard. Whether it was a single or a walk or a hit batsman or a bunt for a hit, we'll never know. But what we do know is we've got Pete Rose at the dish here. Actually, we're in a different inning. So Gwynn led off the game with a single, but we went ahead and left the first at that point. Now we're in the third. Gwynn leads off with something, and then Cobb gets on with something, and now Pete Rose is at the dish. 2 on, nobody out. Full count. The pitch. And he loops it into right. A base hit. It's going all the way to the wall. 1 run will score. Rose on his way to second. Stopping at third will be Cobb. And that's an RBI double for Pete Rose for the Expansions. We now go all the way to the top of the 7th. We are playing this game on fast forward. And the Expansions are winning by 2. You see that they're spinning a 1-hit shutout versus the Hammerheads, and they're getting an offensive highlight here as well. And it's Steve Carlton versus Tony Gwynn with a 1 away. 1 in the pitch, and Gwynn gets into that one. He's going to wrap it around the foul pole. Oppo Taco number 2 for the series. And first for Gwynn. Make it 3-0 Expansions, and they are starting to tarp the clubhouse, expecting a champagne bath. Bottom 7 now. Crunch time for the Hammerheads. They need to start clawing into this lead, and boy, oh boy, do they have a good matchup to try it here. As we've got Hank Aaron, face of the franchise, versus left. An absolute lefty masher. And Warren Spawn's hiding somewhere within my spreadsheet here. But once I find him, we'll pull him up as well. There he is. Warren Spawn versus right. Absolutely advantage to the hitter here, and boy, do they need it. 1-0 count the pitch. Grounded to third, to second 1. Can't complete the double play. But Fire Aaron, serving as DH in this game, unable to keep that going there. It's a fielder's choice, 1 away. Mays comes up next. Willie Mays, another hitter who does some damage versus the left-handed side. You can see it on the graphic right now. Infield shifted for him. 2-0 count the pitch. Lines it into left field, a base hit. Heading to second is Aaron. He'll stop there. And now we've got 2 on and 1 out. Tying run at the plate in the form of Cap Anson. Cap Anson, a well-rounded hitter, but not one known for his exorbitant power versus the other side. He'll be looking to tap into some of that power here. 1 out, the pitch. He loops it to right. Playable. Shifting over is Gwynn. Makes the grab. Runner will tag from second. So now we've got him at the corners and 2 away in this must-have rally point for the Hammerheads. We've got a pitching change for the Expansions. They're going with Bob Feller, and he'll face Jackie Robinson, who will bear the tough responsibility of making sure they don't leave this rally empty-handed. Advantage definitely to the pitcher here. 1-2 count. Line in the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Bob Feller with a huge strikeout to escape trouble in the 7th and keep the shutout going for the Expansions. We go top 8 now. Expansions want to add to that lead. They'll send up Boggs facing Carlton, swinging on 3-0, and he goes ahead and puts it into the corner. The outfield was shifted the opposite way, giving Boggs some running room. He'll have a sliding 1-out double. Bottom 8 now. Crunch time for the Hammerheads. They need to start scratching across some runs. This rally is going to have to start somewhere, and they'll be looking for it to start with Roy Campanella. You see Price struggle versus righties, and you also see Campanella with that slugging percentage that's notable versus left, and he slugs that one in the hole to the left. A 1-out single for Campy. Base runners is what the doctor ordered, and that's just what they got there. But nothing comes of that rally in the 9th, or in the 8th. We go to the 9th, and on comes Mariana Rivera for the Expansions. Rivera versus right. And we showed you Hank Aaron's dominant profile versus left earlier. Now you got to see the trade-off. Hank Aaron not quite that same hitter versus right. Significantly negative bat value. And the Hammerheads are asking him just to get on base here. He does have the fire emoji. So you have to have some hope. 0-1 count. Wine in the pitch. Little looper, right field base hit. Hank Aaron BABIPs his way on, starting a little mini rally for Ottawa. It all comes down to this. Mariana Rivera on the hill. Best hitter in the game. Ty Cobb at the plate. Ty Cobb at the plate. You see that Ty Cobb's got an 873 OPS. A wildly positive 25 bat value. And the Hammerheads are putting a lot on him now. He needs to keep this game going. Needs to get this game onto Gwynn as the next hitter. 1-2 count. Wine in the pitch. Little looper to short. Ozzie Smith grabs it, and the 90s expansions win the 2058 Perfect League World Series. Congrats to RDT. Tough luck to Tech 15. This one's over in 5. We'll go ahead and update our graphic. Even though we're on the road here, I'll give you some cheers, and I'll give you some fireworks. No one deserves to win a World Series and not get some of them. We look at the win expectancy chart, and this one never really got started for the Hammerheads. From the moment the expansions dented the scoreboard in the third, they never looked back. And they did so on that Pete Rose double we saw, as well as that Gwynn solo home run Oppo Taco versus that very tough matchup in Steve Carlton. From a pitching perspective, we'll look at the loser's side first. Pedro Martinez, great outing. 6 innings. Only 2 earned, struck out 9. But against a team that wasn't giving up any runs, it's too much. Carlton came on, gave up that homer. Feller closed it out. On the 90 side, we saw a continuation of what we've seen all series. Leveraging the game built-in opener-follower mechanic, using Eric Gagne in this instance, doing so with no damage. He goes 4 batters faced, giving up just 1 hit, striking out 2, getting through that first inning. And then on comes Spawn. And Spawn was magnificent. Going 5 2/3, spreading a couple hits around, walking none, giving up no runs, and striking out 7. So an absolutely Herculean performance by Warren Spawn in the clinching game. Feller comes on for an out to clean up the 6th inning, and then or 7th inning. And then Price clean. Felix Hernandez gets an out, and then Rivera comes on for a save. And even though he made it a little dramatic with a hit and a walk, was able to get the job done against Ty Cobb in the end. Gets it done in the end. Let's see who wins our World Series MVP, and it is Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn for the expansions. I'm curious. No, that's the wrong Tony Gwynn. So here's the right Tony Gwynn. So 22 at-bats with the triple slash line of 409, 458, 636. Definitely one of the bigger bats on the expansions in the series. As you look at who else it could have gone to, Warren Spawn is definitely in that conversation for his effort in Game 5 and also for his first outing. He ended up with 10 2/3 innings, only yielding 1 run over the course of the season or the series. Well, that is going to do it, guys. There is your final Perfect League bracket. Congrats to RDT. That was a 5th week in the Perfect League, 4th time in the playoffs, and now 1-time Perfect League winner. Congratulations, well earned. Tech will be back at it next week. Tech will be entering his 12th Perfect League season and seeking his 8th opportunity within the playoffs, at which point he'll seek his first Perfect League championship. Honestly, I think that's the key to getting one. is get to the playoffs as many times as you can. Hope for the hot roll of the dice. Hope for your late game relievers to actually close out games that you hand them and not give up 9 earned runs. And that didn't happen for Tech this time around. But that is going to conclude our coverage for the 2058 Perfect League World Series. Dish is going to be on shortly after me, so make sure you tune right back in for when he goes live. But thanks, everyone, for joining tonight. Thanks for being so active in the chat. Thanks for the questions that you provided that added opportunity to talk about different things within the broadcast. And we will be seeing you guys next Sunday.